Desktop Overview training session. When a user logs into the EMR, the first thing they will see is their desktop. This basically acts like a to-do list with items that need to be addressed displaying on your desktop. This area is not patient-specific. It shows your activity throughout the day and helps you to maintain your workflow. Unless you manipulate the filters, it's only going to show current activity and not past dates or completed items. The desktop is broken down into different sections. The application workspace, the desktop tools in the top left corner, the desktop navigator in the lower left corner, the yellow sticky note underneath the workspace, which shows the details of the highlighted item in the workspace, the action buttons in the lower right corner, and the filters in the top right corner. So let's begin with the application workspace. The filters will allow you to adjust your search based on limits that you want to use. In order for an entry to appear in the list on the workspace, it must meet all the criteria that you set in the filter section. Since the desktop only shows current activity that's not yet completed, you would need to change the filters to bring up past items. So for example, from scheduled visits, if I need to see the scheduled visits from Wednesday, I can change my filter and it'll bring up those appointments. Or, for example, if I go to my phone messages and I wanted to see all my messages, whether completed or not, I can change my filters and it brings up all the phone messages that have already been addressed. Also, depending on what item you have selected in your desktop navigator, your filters will change. So if you look at the filters on scheduled visits, and now we go to prescriptions, you can see we have different filters. Again, if I choose reminders, my filters change, as well as with orders. The main part of the screen contains the information that was requested based on your filters. You can click each of the column headers and change the way that they are ordered. So when I clicked on name, you can see that it reorders it into alphabetical order. If I click on classification, it will order it according to classification. The action buttons allows you to move within the workspace to add, edit, open a patient's chart, mark items as completed, etc. So if I go to phone messages, you can see that I have a new button. So your action buttons, just like your filters, will change according to the item you have selected in your navigator. Now let's take a look at the desktop tools. This area contains tools you most frequently use in your role within the practice. You can customize the tools displayed in your toolbox by clicking on the little gear tool and adding items into your selected items or removing them with the right and left pointing arrows. So, for example, if I would like the history recorder in my selected items, I can highlight, use the right pointing arrow to move it into my selected items, and then I can reorder my selected items by using the up and down pointing arrows. So if I want my history recorder to be moved up on the list, I simply click the up pointing arrow. If there's an item in my selected items that I don't want in there, you could highlight and use the left pointing arrow to remove it. Once you've completed your selected items, click OK, and you can see that the desktop tools now display in that order. Another place to edit my desktop tools would be under Tools at the very top, User Preferences, and Toolbars. This area works just as the little gear tool works, but it'll also allow me to select my chart tools. Chart tools are the same as desktop tools, except the available items are different. Now we'll take a look at the Desktop Navigator. The Desktop Navigator provides you with a way to access different utilities and areas of your desktop. The access is solely dependent on your user roles and functions assigned to you in the EMR Manager. For example, a user with the nurse or nurse practitioner role will cause the patient care button to display. A user with the administrator role or a user with administrative functions allows the system to display the administration button. Therefore, not all users' desktop navigators will display the same. The numbers next to the options in the Desktop Navigator indicate the number of unaddressed items in that section of the application workspace. This works basically like your to-do list, as these are items that the user needs to address. When you highlight an item in the application workspace, the action buttons for that area will display. The patient care and administration buttons will show different items in your Desktop Navigator. So I'm on administration and you can see the items available under the Navigator, patient care, and my workflow. You can also customize your Desktop Navigator to fit how you use the system by clicking on the little gear tool and accessing the Navigator Manager. Just like the desktop tools, you have available items and your selected items, so you can move items into and out of the selected items area by using the right and left pointing arrows, and also reorder your selected items by using the up and down pointing arrows. From the category area, you can choose which tab you want to change. So right now I'm on my workflow. If I wanted to change the items in my patient care area or my administration area, I can do so from here. The changes made to the setup of your desktop can most definitely make your workflow more efficient. This completes the MicroMD EMR Desktop Overview training session.